Why atheism can't handle your soul, if you have one. Meaning, love, justice, mortality. What if these soul-deep cravings expose atheism's fatal weakness? Today we demolish the comfortable lie that naturalistic explanations can account for humanity's deepest longings. This isn't about religious comfort. It's about following devastating evidence that shatters materialist assumptions. Welcome to If You Answer Yes, where we destroy intellectual cowardice with brutal honesty about reality's most uncomfortable truths. Today we're exposing atheism's most embarrassing failure, its pathetic inability to explain the human experience without desperate rationalizations. We're not offering gentle suggestions. We're presenting a cumulative case so powerful that only willful blindness can ignore it. Prepare to have your materialist worldview systematically demolished. Premise 1. Are you just a machine made of meat? A collection of atoms in a meaningless universe? Then why are you haunted? I'm talking about the human glitch, that deep, nagging desire for meaning, for love, for perfect justice that this world never quite delivers. Is it a flaw in our design or a clue to what we really are? The evidence for this glitch is everywhere, if you dare to look. Harvard's 80-year study proved it. A life filled with purpose and love crushes a life filled with money and fame. They accidentally expose our source code. We are starved for meaning. It's not just us. Anthropologists find the same code, the same obsession with love, justice, and meaning hardwired into every single culture on Earth. It's a global phenomenon. Even in the hell of Nazi concentration camps, Viktor Frankl saw that the drive for meaning was the ultimate survival tool. It's not a luxury, it's our core programming. And look at our most ancient ancestors. Burial rituals, symbolic art. Skeptics call it social bonding. A more honest look sees the first cry of humanity reaching for something beyond the grave. Now, the scientific establishment has a convenient excuse for all this. They call these profound longings an evolutionary byproduct, a happy accident. Your search for God? Just a glitch in your brain's pattern recognition. The unconditional love you feel for your child. Just a social bonding mechanism. Your soul's cry for justice? A misfiring survival instinct. But does that really satisfy you? Is that explanation good enough? Or is it just a desperate attempt to patch a gaping hole in a godless theory? Maybe modern life, with its endless noise and distraction, is expertly designed to make you ignore the glitch, to numb you to the truth. So I'll ask you directly. When the noise stops, when you're alone in the quiet, do you feel it? That pull, that ache, that ghost in your machine? Because if the answer is yes, everything has to change. Premise 2. Are these profound longings for meaning, love, and justice constantly left unfulfilled, or worse, only temporarily drugged by the things this world offers? Is the pursuit of money, status, and success a rigged game? Why it matters. This isn't just philosophy. This is the battleground for your soul. If a bigger paycheck and a nicer car could truly silence that ache inside you, then the argument for anything transcendent would be a joke. But if the system is designed to fail, then we are all being sold a lie. The evidence doesn't just suggest a complex picture, it points to a system-wide deception. The damning evidence. First, the worship of wealth. The data is a slap in the face to this modern idol. Research proves there is happiness cap. Once your basic survival is covered shockingly, around just $20,000, $30,000. A year, the power of money to bring you joy flatlines. It is a dead end masquerading as a destination. Next, the dark paradox of prosperity. Why do some of the wealthiest nations on earth have staggering rates of despair and suicide. The experts call this relationship complex to avoid asking the obvious, terrifying question. What good is having everything if the spiritual void inside you becomes a black hole that swallows you whole? Finally, the cruelest trick of all, hedonic adaptation, better known as the hedonic treadmill. This is the psychological gear that ensures you are never truly satisfied. You get the win. You feel the rush ... and then it's gone. The finish line moves every single time. It is a rigged game, and its only goal is to keep you chasing a ghost of satisfaction. Here comes the last line of defense. But I'm happy. I find genuine fulfillment in my family, my career, my art. The secular humanist argues that these pursuits are enough, and these things are beautiful. The love for a child, the pride in your work, they are real and powerful. No one denies that. Let's stop calling this nuanced. That's a cop-out. The brutal reality is that these earthly joys are a temporary high, a beautiful distraction. They are echoes of the real song, not the song itself. This isn't an open question. It's a gaping hole in the materialist worldview. The system promises fulfillment, but delivers only a deeper addiction to chasing more. Forget the theories. Think about your own life, your greatest win. The moment you thought, I've finally made it. Be honest with yourself. Did the feeling last? Or did the hunger come back, maybe even stronger than before? Do you find yourself still seeking? If you answer yes, you've just admitted the entire game is rigged. Premise 3. Do our relentless cravings for the infinite unfulfilled by earthly means scream for a transcendent reality? Why this terrifies secular academia? This is where materialist philosophy faces its death blow. We're not claiming proof. We're exposing how their worldview crumbles when confronted with inconvenient human realities. The argument that shatters worldviews. C.S. Lewis devastated materialist assumptions. Natural desires correspond to real objects' thirst to water, hunger to food, lust to sex. If humans universally crave infinite love, perfect justice, eternal meaning, either we're cosmically deluded or these realities exist. Critical honesty. Physical desires evolve for survival with obvious objects. Metaphysical desires require deeper explanation, but the pattern remains devastatingly consistent. The evolutionary nightmare. If these longings are meaningless accidents, why haven't they disappeared? Unfulfillable desires cause suffering without survival benefit. Evolution should have eliminated such costly mistakes millennia ago, unless they point to something real. Desperate evolutionary escape attempts. 1. Byproducts of useful traits. 2. Repurposed abilities. 3. Group cohesion tools. 4. Cognitive limitations masquerading as insight. The persistence destroyer. Even granting these explanations, why do we crave perfect justice, unconditional love, eternal significance concepts that exceed survival needs? This evolutionary excess suggests either 1. Catastrophic design flaws that should vanish. 2. Hidden functions we're blind to. 3. Programming from beyond natural selection. Worldview deathmatch. 1. Pure materialism. Collapses explaining consciousness that generates impossible longings. 2. Eastern philosophy. Admits transcendence, but calls our deepest desires illusions. 3. Secular humanism. Acknowledges constructed meaning while admitting meaninglessness. 4. Theism. Explains longings as cosmic homing signals. The cumulative crushing, universality, specific content, persistence, despite progress, evolutionary cause together, they demolish materialist certainty. Face the evidence? Does this cumulative case shatter your materialist assumptions about reality's limits? Premise 4. Among transcendent worldviews, does Christianity offer the response that others can't match? Why this question threatens religious pluralism. Even if transcendent reality exists, this doesn't validate every spiritual fairy tale. We must brutally compare competing explanations, and Christianity emerges disturbingly unique. Christianity's nuclear claims. 1. Ultimate meaning through divine relationship. 2. Unconditional love from God's very nature. 3. Eternal significance through bodily resurrection. 4. Perfect justice through divine judgment. 5. Complete soul satisfaction through divine union. How other worldviews crumble. 1. Islam offers submission, not intimacy. Divine love exists but remains distant. 2. Hinduism, Buddhism calls your deepest longings illusions to eliminate, not fulfill. 3. Deism provides cosmic clockmaker with zero personal connection. 4. Judaism focuses on earthly obligations while afterlife remains vague. Christianity's unique devastation of human objections. The incarnation bombshell. Christianity claims God became human, directly obliterating the divine-human separation that haunts every other religion. Personal relationship revolution. Not moral obligation or mystical absorption, but ongoing divine friendship. Resurrection scandal promises you remain you forever, not dissolved in the cosmic soup. Grace earthquake, unconditional acceptance that destroys every performance-based salvation system. The historical evidence problem that won't disappear. Christianity stakes everything on historically investigable claims, especially Jesus' resurrection. These aren't untestable mystical experiences, but events that either happened or didn't, supported by evidence that makes skeptics uncomfortable. The data that disturbs secularists. Practicing Christians consistently report higher life satisfaction and mental health than non-religious populations. While other factors exist, this pattern remains stubbornly persistent across cultures. The problem that haunts every believer. If God designed these longings, why does the world frustrate them so brutally? Christianity offers responses through free will, soul development, and human understanding limitations, but this remains philosophy's bloodiest battlefield. Brutal honesty. Christianity provides the most comprehensive response to human longings, but requires 1. Historical evidence acceptance. 2. Philosophical coherence. 3. Personal validation. 4. Honest comparison with alternatives. Face the uncomfortable truth. Does Christianity's response to your deepest longings demand serious consideration, regardless of your current beliefs? Your worldview, your verdict, your courage. How brutally honest were you with these soul-searching questions? 1. Are you more than just rotting meat in a cosmic accident? 2. Is chasing money, fame, and achievements just sophisticated self-deception that never satisfies? 3. Do your infinite longings, mockingly unfulfilled by everything earthly, scream for transcendent reality beyond materialism's lies? 4. Among spiritual explanations, does Christianity deliver the response that every other worldview fails to provide? Your score reveals your intellectual courage. 4 out of 4. Yes, the fearless truth seeker. You face uncomfortable evidence, admitted material reality's failures, recognized transcendence as reasonable, and found Christianity worth serious investigation. You chose intellectual honesty over comfortable delusions. 3 out of 4. Yes, the honest doubter. You acknowledge profound longings and material limitations, but question transcendent conclusions or Christianity's claims. You're wrestling with implications instead of dismissing them. 2 out of 4 yes, the conflicted soul. You admit some deeper cravings, but resist transcendent explanations or prefer alternative spiritualities. You're engaging genuinely, rather than hiding behind skepticism. 1 out of 4 yes, the defensive naturalist. You explain everything through evolution and culture while secretly wondering if there's more. You're clinging to naturalistic safety nets while feeling their inadequacy. None out of 4 yes, the delusional materialist. You've convinced yourself these universal human experiences are meaningless biological accidents. You're either intellectually dishonest or emotionally numb to your own deepest longings. The uncomfortable truth. Your score reveals whether you have the courage to follow evidence toward unsettling conclusions or prefer the false comfort of materialist mythology. The real question isn't what you scored, it's whether you're brave enough to act on what the evidence demands. Destroying the skeptic's last stand. These longings are evolutionary accidents. The desperate materialist defense. Pattern recognition creates purpose-seeking. Social bonding extends the cosmic connection. Future planning generates eternal significance, and group beliefs provide cohesion. Why this excuse crumbles? 1. These desire specific content. Perfect justice, infinite love, and eternal meaning wildly exceeds group survival needs. 2. They create psychological torment without survival benefit. 3. They drive people towards self-destructive behavior, martyrdom, celibacy, and sacrificial justice. Evolution can't explain why we be programmed for cosmic homesickness that serves no biological function. Other religions make similar claims. Weak deflection. Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism offer transcendent frameworks too. Reality check. The argument isn't Christianity's exclusivity, but its distinctive superiority among transcendent options worth serious consideration. Correlation isn't causation in religious studies. Partially valid. Religious belief correlating with well-being doesn't prove truth claims. Missing the point. It proves these beliefs address genuine psychological needs that materialism fails to meet. What about our dark desires? The sophisticated attack. If noble longings point transcendent, what about desires for dominance, vengeance, greed, sexual conquest? Cherry-picking much? The devastating response. Our ability to recognize these as corruptions knowing. Justice trumps vengeance reveals innate moral standards transcending evolutionary programming. Dark desires are twisted versions of good ones, and our recognition of this corruption itself demands transcendent explanation. Pure wishful thinking. The psychological dismissal. You believe because you want it true, not because it is. The uncomfortable truth. Desire doesn't make something false. Christianity's correspondence to human longings provides evidence, not just appeal, just brain states and neurochemistry. The reductionist trap. Spiritual experiences are neurons firing, nothing more. The philosophical destruction. This commits map territory confusion. Neural correlates don't negate transcendent reality any more than visual cortex negates the external world. Mechanism doesn't determine meaning. Secular meaning works fine. The final defense. Stoicism, existentialism, utilitarianism, absurdism provide robust meaning without transcendence. The killing blow. These finite achievements, however noble, cannot satisfy infinite longings. It's filling an ocean-sized hole with a bucket of mismatch. Between infinite desires and finite objects demands transcendent explanation. The moment of truth. We've demolished materialism's most cherished delusions about human nature. The evidence isn't just compelling, it's devastating the comfortable secular assumptions. What we've witnessed is philosophy's most brutal takedown. Humans across every culture and era experience soul-deep cravings that obliterate material reality's boundaries. These longings survive despite technological progress and mock evolutionary explanations. Among transcendent worldviews, Christianity delivers responses that leave competitors scrambling for answers. This isn't mere proof, it's a direct assault on everything you've been told about reality's limits. The question isn't whether you're forced to believe, but whether intellectual cowardice allows you to keep ignoring evidence this powerful. Your deepest longings might be evolutionary glitches, cultural brainwashing, or God's signature burned into your DNA. Multiple interpretations exist, but only one explains the data without desperate rationalizations. If there's even a chance these cravings point beyond materialism's prison walls, doesn't intellectual honesty demand investigation? The stakes couldn't be higher. If these arguments hold, your very existence screams testimony to transcendent reality that secular philosophy desperately wants to silence. If they don't, you can pursue earthly fulfillment knowing you face the most challenging alternatives with brutal honesty. But the questions won't leave you alone. They'll haunt how you understand yourself, love others, and search for meaning in a universe that either mocks or beckons you towards something infinitely greater. The choice is yours. Will you have the courage to follow this evidence wherever it leads? Or will you retreat into the comfortable delusions of materialist mythology? Your deepest longings are waiting for your answer. Next week, we're exploring new territory that builds on everything we've discussed today. We're examining evidence that has sparked debate among scholars, philosophers, and thinkers for generations. The data we'll present offers compelling arguments that deserve serious consideration, regardless of where you currently stand. This isn't just theoretical discussion. We're investigating claims that have real implications for how we understand our world. The evidence will challenge your assumptions. The arguments will make you think, and the conclusions will give you plenty to consider long after the episode ends. Subscribe now, because what we're covering next promises to be thought-provoking and significant. See you then.